The human arrived on the alien world with nothing but a small bag and tired eyes. The planet was called Zelaris, a place of tall silver towers and glowing blue roads. Ships floated silently in the sky like slow-moving stars. To the aliens, this world was beautiful and powerful. To the human, it felt cold and strange. He walked alone through the busy spaceport. Aliens of many shapes moved around him. Some had glowing skin. Some had 4 arms, some floated instead of walking. But all of them shared one thing. They did not like humans. Whispers followed him wherever he went. Human. Dangerous. They destroy worlds. They cannot be trusted. The human kept his head low and continued walking. He was not here to fight. He was not here to steal. He was here for something much older. Something forgotten. After leaving the spaceport, he entered the old city. This place looked different. The buildings were cracked and dark. Ancient symbols were carved on the walls, worn by time. Very few aliens came here anymore. This was the place where history slept. The human stopped near a broken stone pillar. He slowly touched the carvings on it. His fingers moved carefully, like he was touching something sacred. These words. He whispered softly, "Still alive." A soft voice suddenly spoke behind him. "You should not touch that." He turned. Slowly, a young alien girl stood there, watching him. Her skin was light blue, her eyes bright like silver stars. She wore simple clothes, but her posture showed pride. "You are human," she said calmly. "Yes," he replied. "This place is not for humans," she said. "You are not welcome here." The human looked at the broken pillar again, then back at her. "I did not come to disrespect," he said. "I came to remember." The alien girl frowned. "Remember what?" she asked. The human took a slow breath. Then he spoke. Not in common alien language. Not in galactic trade speech. He spoke in a soft, strange tongue. A language old and deep. A language that had not been heard in thousands of years. The alien girl froze. Her eyes widened. Her breath stopped around them. A few aliens who were passing by suddenly stopped walking. The human finished speaking and looked at her calmly. The alien girl whispered in shock, You speak the dead language of our ancestors?" Silence fell like a shadow. Even the air felt still. One old alien nearby dropped the small device he was holding. It hit the ground with a loud sound. That language, the old alien said slowly, was lost before my people were born. The human lowered his head respectfully. "It was not lost," he said. "It was forgotten." The alien girl took a step back. Her voice shook. "That is impossible," she said. "Only our ancient kings spoke that language. Only the first bloodlines knew it. You are a human." The human looked at her eyes, not with pride, but with quiet sadness. "I learned it," he said, "from someone who believed it should not die." The girl stared at him, unable to speak. More aliens slowly gathered around them. Some looked angry, some looked confused. Some looked afraid. A tall alien guard stepped forward. "Human," he said loudly, "how dare you sacred words of our past? Are you mocking us?" The human did not raise his voice. He did not show fear. "I speak it with respect," he said, "not to mock, not to insult." He turned slightly toward the broken pillar and spoke again in the ancient tongue. This time, his voice was soft and full of meaning. He spoke of stars. He spoke of unity. He spoke of peace between different worlds. The symbols on the broken pillar began to glow faintly. The crowd gasped. The alien girl slowly walked closer to him. Her eyes were no longer angry. They were full of wonder. "My name is Lyra," she said quietly. "My family guards the old stories. But even we do not know this language fully anymore." She looked at him carefully. "Who taught you this?" she asked. The human closed his eyes for a moment. "A dying teacher," he said. "An alien, left alone on a forgotten moon. He told me, one day, someone must speak these words again. Lyra felt her heart beat faster. You kept our language alive. While we let it die, she said softly. The guard looked uncertain now. The crowd was silent. The human looked around. I did not come to claim anything, he said. I came to return something. Lyra took a deep breath. Then you must come. With me, she said. The elders need to see you. But if they decide you are lying. She did not finish the sentence. The human nodded calmly. I understand. As they began walking away together, the ancient symbols on the walls slowly glowed again, as if the city itself was waking up after a long sleep. And somewhere deep in the old city, forgotten history was beginning to breathe once more. The old city became silent as the human and Lyra walked side by side. The glowing symbols on the walls slowly faded behind them, but the feeling they left stayed in the air. Aliens whispered in low voices, watching every step the human took. Some looked afraid. Some looked angry. Some looked curious. Lyra walked fast but careful. She did not look back, but she could feel hundreds of eyes on them. You should not have spoken there, she said quietly. If I did not, the human replied calmly, no one would have listened. Lyra stopped suddenly and turned to him. Do you know what you have done? She asked. That language is not just old words. It is power. It is history. It is something my people were ready to forget. The human looked at her gently. Then, forgetting was the real danger, he said. They continued walking through narrow stone paths. The bright future city was far behind them now. Here, everything was dark and ancient. The walls were covered in marks of old wars. Burned lines, broken carvings, deep cracks. This place, the human said softly, was once beautiful. Lyra nodded slowly. Yes, before the Great Fall, she said. She stopped near a large closed gate made of dark crystal. 2 old alien guards stood there. They looked surprised when they saw the human. A human? One of them asked coldly. Why bring him here, Lyra? He spoke the first tongue, she replied. Both guards froze. The first tongue? One whispered. Lyra raised her hand. The guards slowly stepped aside. The gate opened with a deep sound. Inside was a wide hall lit by floating blue lights. Statues of ancient alien leaders stood tall on both sides. Their faces were proud and serious. The human felt something heavy in his chest. This is the Hall of Bloodlines, Lyra said. Only noble families may enter. Then why am I here? The human asked. Lyra looked at him carefully. Because no noble speaks what you speak, she replied. They walked forward. At the center of the hall was a glowing circle on the floor, filled with strange symbols. Lyra stepped into it first. Then she looked back. If you lie, she said, this circle will know. The human stepped in without fear. The light slowly rose around them like soft flames. A deep voice filled the hall. State your origin. Lyra spoke proudly. Lyra of the old blood, keeper of forgotten stories. The voice then turned to the human. And you, stranger? The human paused. I am called Aaron, he said, a traveler, a student of lost voices. The light around him shimmered, but did not reject him. Lyra's eyes widened slightly. It accepts you, she whispered. The voice spoke again. Speak. The first tongue. Aaron closed his eyes. Then he spoke, not loudly, not proudly, but gently, like speaking to something sleeping. The ancient words filled the hall like music. The statues around them began to glow softly. The floor symbols lit up like stars. Lyra's breath stopped. Tears slowly filled her eyes. No one, she whispered, no one has spoken like that since the ancients died. When Aaron stopped, the hall became silent again. Then the voice said, truth detected. Lyra stepped closer to Aaron. You were not lying, she said softly. You truly know it. Aaron opened his eyes. I did not steal your past, he said. I carried it, because someone had to. Lyra looked down for a moment. My people erased this language after the war, she said. They feared it reminded them of their shame and their mistakes. Aaron looked at the statues. History does not disappear because you close your eyes, he replied. Suddenly, a loud sound echoed in the hall. Several armed alien soldiers rushed inside. Lyra! One shouted. Step away from the human. They raised their weapons at Orion. Lyra stood in front of him without thinking. He is under the protection of the hall, she said firmly. The soldier hesitated. This human could be a spy, he said, or worse, a manipulator. Aaron slowly stepped forward. If I wanted war, he said calmly, I would not come alone, and I would not speak words of peace. He looked directly at the soldiers. I came because your ancestors asked for someone to remember them. The soldiers were silent. One of them lowered his weapon slowly. Lyra turned to Aaron with surprise. You are brave, she said. Aaron smiled slightly. No, he said. I am tired of silence. Lyra took a deep breath. The elders must hear this, she said. But know this. Many of them do not want the past to wake up. She looked at him seriously. Once you stand before them, there is no turning back. Aaron nodded. I did not come to turn back. As they walked out of the Hall of Bloodlines, unseen eyes followed them from the shadows. And far above, in the high towers of the alien city, something ancient had started moving again. Something that did not want the dead language to return. Path to the Elder Towers was long and silent. Aaron and Lyra walked through a bridge made of clear crystal, floating high above the city. Below them, lights moved like stars trapped inside a bowl. The city looked peaceful, but Aaron felt something dark watching from behind the beauty. Lyra broke the silence. Since the moment you spoke the first tongue, she said quietly, many eyes have turned toward you. Aaron nodded. I can feel them, he said. They passed under tall arches shaped like wings. Strange statues lined the path. Some were broken, their faces damaged by time and war. These were heroes once, Lyra said. Now they are only shadows. Aaron stopped near one statue. Its face was cracked, but its eyes still looked strong. Heroes become dangerous, he said, when people fear their truth. Suddenly, a soft sound echoed behind them. Footsteps. Not one, not two. Many. Lyra slowly turned. Dark figures stood at the far end of the bridge. They wore black armor that reflected no light. Their eyes glowed faint red. Void Watchers, Lyra whispered. They are not soldiers. They are silence. The figures began walking closer. Aaron stepped slightly in front of Lyra without thinking. You should not be here, one of the figures said in a cold voice. The past must remain buried. Lyra's voice shook. He is under protection of the hall. The figure laughed softly. The hall protects memory, it replied. We protect forgetting. Aaron looked at them calmly. Why fear old words? He asked. Because words change worlds, the figure answered. The Void Watchers raised their weapons. The air around them became heavy, like the city itself was holding its breath. Lyra grabbed Aaron's arm. We cannot fight them, she whispered. Rin closed his eyes for a moment. Then he spoke again in the first tongue. But this time, not like before. This time, his voice was stronger. The words echoed across the bridge like invisible waves. The crystal beneath their feet began to glow softly. The Void Watchers stopped, their weapons lowered slightly. What is this? One whispered. Arin stepped forward slowly. These words were made to unite, he said. Not to be erased by fear. The light spread across the bridge, touching the dark armor of the Watchers. Their shadows became thin and weak. For the first time, Lyra saw doubt in their glowing eyes. Suddenly, a loud alarm echoed across the city. The spell broke. The Watchers stepped back quickly. "This is not over, human," their leader said. "You carry a fire that will burn this world, or save it." And then they vanished into the air like smoke. The bridge became silent again. Lyra fell to her knees, breathing fast. "They should have killed us," she whispered. Aaron slowly helped her stand. "They did not," he said, "because even they still remember something." They continued toward the Elder Towers, but now their steps were faster. The towers were tall and white, reaching into the sky like frozen lightning. Guards stood everywhere. As they entered the main hall, dozens of old alien elders sat in floating seats. Their faces were cold and unreadable. Lyra bowed deeply. "Elders," she said, "I bring the human who speaks the first tongue." Whispers filled the hall. One elder slowly moved forward. "A human," he said, "in our sacred place." Aaron did not bow. He stood straight, not with pride, but with quiet strength. "You should not exist in this story," the elder said. "But I do," Aaron replied. The elder's eyes narrowed. "Then speak," he said. "Prove you are more than a dangerous mistake." Aaron took a deep breath. He spoke again in the dead language, but this time, the words were not soft, they were strong. They spoke of broken promises, of lost allies, of humans who died protecting alien worlds long ago. The elder's eyes widened. One of them whispered, "These are not just words. This is our forgotten history." The main elder rose slowly. "Why would humans protect our past?" he asked. Aaron looked directly at him. "Because your ancestors once protected ours," he said, "when no one else did." Silence filled the hall. Lyra looked at Aaron with wide eyes. The elder closed his eyes slowly. "If this is true," he said, "then everything we believe must change." Suddenly, the hall lights flickered. A deep voice echoed from the shadows. "Or we destroy the one who brings the change." Dark figures appeared again at the edges of the hall. The Void Watchers had returned, and this time, they did not come to speak. The Elder Hall became dark and tense. The Void Watchers stood at the edges like living shadows, their red eyes glowing faintly in the dim light. The alien elders remained seated, but their calm faces now showed fear and anger mixed together. One elder spoke loudly. "This is a sacred place. You cannot bring your darkness here." The leader of the Void Watchers stepped forward slowly. "We were born from this place," he said coldly. "We exist to protect the Empire from dangerous memories." Lyra moved closer to Aaron. "They want to erase you," she whispered. Fair nodded slowly. "I know," he replied, "because truth is heavier than lies." The main elder raised his hand. "Enough," he said. "If this human truly speaks the first tongue and carries forgotten history, then he will face the trial of truth." The hall fell silent. Lyra gasped. "That trial has not been used for thousands of years." Aaron looked at her calmly. "What is it?" he asked. Lyra swallowed. "A test where lies cannot live," she said. "Many have entered. Few returned." Aaron took a deep breath. "Then that is where I belong," he said. The elders slowly rose from their seats. The floor began to move and open. A wide circle appeared, glowing with ancient symbols. The air felt heavy. "This circle reads the soul," the main elder said. "If you lie, it will break you." Aaron stepped forward without hesitation. Lyra reached for his arm. "You do not have to do this," she said softly. Aaron looked at her and gave a small, calm smile. "If I walk away now," he said, "your people will return to silence, and silence is worse than death." He stepped into the glowing circle. The symbols rose into the air. Like fireflies, a deep ancient voice filled the hall. "Speak your truth." Aaron closed his eyes. Then he spoke, not only with words, but with his heart. He told of old human ships that found alien survivors floating in space, of humans who gave them food, shelter, and safety, of a dying alien teacher who taught him the first tongue with his last breath. I was told, Arin said, that one day someone must remind your people who they once were, and who they could be again. The circle glowed brighter. The void watchers stepped back slightly. Aaron continued, humans are not perfect. We make mistakes, we destroy, but we also remember. And we protect what others forget. Suddenly, the circle showed images. Old stars. Human and alien ships flying together. Soldiers standing side by side. A promise written in fire between two worlds. The elders stared in shock. One whispered, "We erased this from history." The main elder trembled. Why would humans keep this? He asked. Arin opened his eyes slowly. Because someone must guard the bridge between past and future, he said. The circle began to dim. The voice spoke again. Truth accepted. The hall shook slightly. Lyra felt tears in her eyes. The Void Watcher leader growled. No, he shouted. If this truth spreads, the Empire will change. Our power will die. He raised his weapon and aimed at Aaron. Lyra screamed, No! Before anyone could move, Aaron stepped forward, placing himself fully in front of Lyra and the elders. He spoke again in the first tongue. The air itself seemed to bend. A powerful wave pushed the Void Watchers back. They crashed into the walls like shadows torn from the light. Silence returned. Aaron fell to one knee, breathing hard. Lyra rushed to him. You saved us, she said, holding his arm. Aaron looked up slowly. I only reminded them, he said softly. Main Elder stood in shock. A human. Defended us, he whispered. He turned to the other elders. The trial has spoken. This human is not our enemy. Some elders nodded slowly. Some still looked afraid, but none spoke against him. Lyra helped. Aaron, stand. You changed everything, she said quietly. Aaron looked around the ancient hall. I did not change it, he replied. I woke it up. But far above, in the darkest towers of the city, unseen eyes were watching, and they were not ready to let the Empire wake so easily. The Elder Hall slowly returned to normal, but the peace was only on the surface. Aaron stood quietly beside Lyra. The elders whispered among themselves. Some looked hopeful, some looked afraid. But Aaron could feel it in the air. Something dark was moving. The main elder finally spoke. The truth you brought cannot be erased now. He sighed. But truth has enemies, and they will not stay silent. Lyra looked around. Where did the Void Watchers come from? She asked. The elder sighed. They were created long ago, he said. Not as monsters, but as protectors. They were meant to guard the Empire from outside threats. But over time, they became afraid of change. Aaron nodded slowly. When protectors fear the future, he said, they become the greatest danger. A loud sound suddenly shook the hall. Boom! The floor trembled. Lights flickered. An alarm echoed across the towers. Lyra grabbed Aaron's arm. What is happening? She cried. A guard rushed in. Elders! He shouted. Multiple attacks across the city. Power stations destroyed. The Void Watchers are leading a rebellion. The hall fell into chaos. The main elder closed his eyes slowly. The hidden war has begun, he whispered. Arin felt his heart tighten. So they chose fear over truth, he said. Lyra looked at him with worry. This is because of you, she said softly. Because you woke the past. Aaron looked back calmly. Then I will help face what wakes with it, he replied. The elders ordered emergency shields to rise. Outside, the beautiful city was now filled with smoke and red warning lights. Explosions echoed far away. Lyra and Aaron rushed through the corridors with guards. They passed broken walls, fallen drones, and injured aliens. Aaron stopped to help a wounded child alien lying on the floor. He carried her to safety before continuing. Lyra saw this and felt something change inside her. He helps even in chaos, she thought, even when he gains nothing. Suddenly, a group of Void Watchers blocked their path. Their leader stepped forward. You should have stayed silent, human, he said. Now the Empire burns. Aaron stood firm. Empires that fear truth deserve to burn, he replied. So something better can rise. The Watcher laughed darkly. You humans love destruction, he said. Aaron shook his head. No, he said. We love second chances. The Watchers attacked. Energy blasts filled the hall. Guards fell back. Lyra was pushed to the ground. Without thinking, Aaron jumped in front of her again. A blast hit his shoulder. He cried out in pain but did not fall. Lyra screamed his name. Aaron stood, injured, but still standing. You see, he said through pain. I could run, but I stay. The Watcher hesitated. Why? He asked. Aaron looked straight into his glowing eyes. Because humans are not defined by what we destroy, he said, but by what we protect. For a moment, the Watcher did not move. Then more guards arrived, forcing the Watchers to retreat. They vanished into the smoke. Lyra rushed to Aaron's side. You are bleeding, she said, pressing her hands against his wound. Aaron smiled weakly. I have had worse, he said. They reached a safe chamber where medics treated Aaron quickly. Lyra stayed beside him the whole time. You should not be alive, she whispered. Aaron looked at the ceiling lights slowly moving. Neither should this piece, he said. But both are, because someone refuses to give up. Lyra felt tears in her eyes. You humans, she said quietly, you carry fire, but also light. Outside, the city continued to burn and fight. The hidden war had only begun. And Aaron, the human who spoke the dead language, had now become something more dangerous to the Empire than any weapon. He had become a symbol, and symbols are harder to kill than soldiers. The city of Xylaris no longer slept. Red lights filled the sky. Smoke rose between the towers like dark clouds. Ships flew low and fast, carrying wounded and soldiers. The sound of battle echoed through the streets. Aaron stood on a high balcony, looking over the burning city. Lyra stood beside him, silent. The Empire is breaking, she said softly. All because truth returned. Aaron looked at her. No, he replied, because lies were allowed to live too long. Behind them, the elders argued loudly inside the chamber. Close the borders. Destroy the rebels. Blame the human. Lyra clenched her fists. They fear losing control more than losing lives, she said. Ein turned toward the doors. Then someone must show them another way. Before Lyra could stop him, Aaron walked into the elder chamber. All voices stopped. He stood alone in front of them. I came as a traveler, he said calmly. But I will not leave as a coward. One elder shouted, You are human. This is not your world. Aaron replied firmly, It is my world now, because I chose to care for it. Silence fell. Another elder asked, What do you want, human? Aaron took a deep breath. Give me a ship, he said. And a signal line to your people. Lyra gasped. What are you planning? She whispered. Ein looked back at her. I will speak to the Empire, he said. Not as a human, but as a voice of truth. The elders argued again, but fear was on their faces. Finally, the main elder spoke. If you fail, he said, you will die. Aaron nodded. If I do nothing, he replied, many more will. They gave him a small ship and full signal access. As Aaron prepared to leave, Lyra stopped him. You are walking into death, she said. Aaron smiled gently. Then, I will walk in with open eyes, he said. Lyra stepped closer. You changed my people, she said softly. And you changed me. Aaron looked at her with calm respect. You already had the strength, he replied. I only reminded you. He entered the ship. The doors closed. The ship rose into the dark sky. Flying toward the center of the battle dot from the ship, Aaron sent a signal across the Empire. Every screen, every tower, every street, aliens stopped running. Soldiers stopped fighting. Aaron's face appeared everywhere. "I am human," he said, "and I speak your first tongue." He spoke again in the dead language, but now mixed with common speech. "You fear change," he said, "but your ancestors did not. They built this empire with others, not alone." Images appeared on the screens, humans and aliens standing together, building cities, defending worlds. "You are not weak because you remember," Aaron continued. "You are strong because you choose what to become." The Void Watchers watched from the shadows. Their leader growled, "He will destroy everything we built." He ordered a strike. A missile launched toward Aaron's ship. Lyra saw it from the tower. "Aaron!" She screamed at the missile hit. A bright light filled the sky. The ship disappeared in fire. Silence fell across the city. Lyra collapsed to her knees. "No," she whispered. The elder stood frozen. But then, the screens flickered again. Smoke cleared. Aaron's ship was damaged, burning, but still flying. His voice returned. "You see," he said weakly but smiling, "even when you try to silence truth, it finds a way to speak." The Void Watchers fell silent. Some soldiers lowered their weapons. Across the Empire, fighting slowly stopped. The city lights returned one by one. Aaron's ship slowly descended toward the main tower. Lyra ran to meet him as the ship landed roughly. The door opened. Aaron stepped out, injured, but alive. Lyra ran to him and held him tightly. "You chose both worlds," she whispered. Aaron smiled. "I refused to lose either." The war did not end that night, but hope was born. And hope, once alive, is harder to kill than any rebellion. War did not end with a loud victory. It ended quietly. Slowly. Like a storm fading after long rain. The city of Xylaris stood broken, but alive. Towers were damaged. Streets were dark in many places. But the sky was clear again, and the fires were gone. Aaron sat on a small balcony near the healing chambers. His body was weak, but his mind was calm. The wind moved gently across the city. Lyra stood beside him, looking at the stars. "Many still fear you," she said softly. "Some blame you for everything." Aaron smiled slightly. "That is normal," he replied. "Truth always feels dangerous at first." Lyra turned toward him. "But many more listen now," she said. "The schools teach the first tongue again. Children speak words their parents never knew." Aaron looked surprised. "They really brought it back?" he asked. Lyra nodded. "They say the language no longer belongs to the past, but to the future." Aaron closed his eyes slowly. "Then my journey was worth it," he whispered. Far away, in the great hall, the elders met again. But this time, humans were also present, not as guests, not as enemies, but as partners. An elder spoke before both races. "For too long we ruled by fear of memory. Now we will rule by respect for it." Some Void Watchers stood at the back of the hall. They no longer wore dark armor. Their red eyes were dim. Their leader stepped forward and bowed his head before Aaron. "We were wrong," he said quietly. "We protected silence, not peace." Aaron did not show anger. "Then walk a new path," he said. "Even shadows can learn to follow light." The Empire slowly changed, not in one day, not in 1 year, but in small steps. Human and alien ships flew together again. Old borders opened. Lost worlds were rebuilt. Lyra became the bridge between both races. She spoke for aliens and humans alike. Some called her the Star Voice, but many called Aaron something else. They called him the voice that united the stars. One day, Lyra stood beside Aaron on a high tower, looking at the wide galaxy. "Will you return to your people?" She asked. Rin thought for a moment. I belong to both now, he said. Just like the language I carried, Lyra smiled. You came here alone, she said. Now the stars know your name. Aaron looked at the endless sky. I did not come to be known, he replied. I came so others would not be forgotten. Lyra looked at him with quiet respect. In the distance, children laughed, speaking both human and alien words together. The sound filled the air with hope. The first tongue was no longer dead. It lived, in voices, in stories, in unity. And somewhere, among the stars, old ancestors watched in silence. Not forgotten anymore.